G'day guys, my name's Dave and welcome to another Guitars Ready Hero song tutorial. In this lesson, I'm going to teach you how to play The Pretender by the Foo Fighters, which is an awesome tune. I'm going to teach you how to play all the lead guitars and also all the rhythm guitars as well. For the basics of this song, you'll just need your guitars in standard tuning and you won't need a capo. For all the guitar tones that you hear in this lesson, I'll leave a tone patch for them in the description below, but you'll need a Boss Katana Mark II in order to load them up. If you want to master your chords back to front, then be sure to head over to guitarsreadyhero.com to pick up my free guitar ebook. Finally, this video simply teaches you one lesson, but if understanding and really learning the guitar is something you've always wanted to do, but you didn't know where to start, then be sure to check out the Guitars Ready Hero Premium course and membership, which gives you all the guidance to play with confidence. I'll leave a link to it in the description below. Let's jump into the lesson. Okay, so let's take a look at guitar part number 1, and this is more or less what Chris Shiflett plays. So let's just call this the lead guitar part. Now in terms of guitar tone, for this intro, it's just a basic clean tone, nothing special to it. If you want the Boss Katana tone patches to this song, I'll leave them in the link in the description. Starting with the intro, there's 2 lines of tab. We're gonna start with an interesting A minor shape here. So we're gonna take our ring and pinky finger and put them on the 10th frets of the 4th and 2nd string, middle finger on the 9th fret of the 3rd string, and index finger will stretch and reach to the 7th fret of the 1st string. And we're gonna pluck the 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and then 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. With a down, 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 up, 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 up motion. For the second bar, we'll hit the open 5th string, and then you can lift your index finger now from that shape. Keep your other fingers where they are. Pluck the 7th fret of the 6th string, and then lightly strum the higher 4 strings like that. So 1 and 2. Then your index finger will go up to the 8th fret, pluck that root note, and then another light strum of the chord. Open 5th string, another light strum of the chord, and then our index finger will go to the 9th fret of the 5th string. And the bar in total, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... We're going to hold this note into the 3rd bar. On the end beat after the 1, we'll then pluck the 4th, 3rd and 2nd string by themselves. So, and 1 and 2 and... On the 3 beat, we'll go back to the root note here, and then we'll pluck it again, but we'll slightly bend it. So this is a half bend. So to bend this, what I do is actually pull my index finger in a downwards direction. After that slight bend, we'll release back to its original position, pluck it one more time, and then move it down 1 fret. So the second half of this bar, and from the start of this chord shape, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and for the final bar, we'll pluck the 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th string. In the final chord shape, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... And that's it for the first line of tab, which will sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now that first line of tab is just played through twice, and the second line of tab is almost identical, except we're cutting out the last 4 plucks. So at the very end, it's just and 1 and 2 and... Now it's at this part of the song that we'll change tones. For this tone, we've changed to a mid to high gain amp with the gain fairly high, and that's pretty much it as well. There's nothing too special. You can get something similar if you used a clean amp and a distortion or overdrive pedal in front of it as well. For this break riff, we're just going to plant our ring finger on the 5th fret of the 2nd string, and we're going to be playing double stops here. So this whole time, you'll be hitting the 1st and 2nd strings together. Let's take a look at the first 4 plucks. Now we're going to continuously go with a down, up motion here for the first set of 4 notes. On the 3rd pluck here though, we'll temporarily put our index finger on the 2nd fret of the 1st string. So it'll sound like this. Now for the second set of 4 notes, it'll be similar. However, our 1st string notes will differ a little bit. So on the first pluck, our index finger will temporarily be on the 3rd fret, lift, and then pinky finger on the 5th fret of the 1st string, lift. So the first half of this bar. So that final pluck is held out for an 8th note, and then we pick it back up with an upstroke, then 2nd fret, open, and that set of 3 notes. And this last set of notes is the same as our second set of 4 notes, but we just leave out the last pluck. So, and the second half of this bar. And this riff in total. And a bit faster. This takes us to verse number 1 where there's 2 lines of tab. And we're essentially just playing that break riff again and again and again. And that will just sound like this on repeat. For the second line of tab, just before we get into the first chorus, we're going to play some octaves. So index finger on the 5th fret of the 5th string, pinky finger on the 7th fret of the 3rd string. Now with octave shapes, it's really important that you mute the strings that you're not fretting. So to do that, with your index finger, lightly rest your index finger across all the strings below the one that you're fretting. So the 5th fret of the 5th string needs to be fretted, but everything else should be muted by lightly resting that index finger across it. And then you can just place your pinky finger into place. And then when you strum everything, only those 2 notes will ring out. Now to mute the 6th string, you could lightly touch the 6th string with your index finger, or you could use your free middle finger here to lightly touch the 6th string. It's up to you which method you choose. But that's our octave shape. We're gonna play that 4 times in this position with a down, up, and then shift up 2 frets, same thing. Shift up 2 frets, same thing. And shift up 1 fret, same thing. So this second line of tab. We move on to chorus 1, and again there's 2 lines of tab. We're going to start with an A5 power chord, so index and middle finger on the 2nd frets of the 4th and 3rd string. You could use your middle and ring finger as well, but at the end of the day we're really just focusing on the 5th, 4th and 3rd strings. Now we're going to strum this at 16th notes with the continuous down, up for the full bar. So 1, 2, 3, 4. For the second bar, we'll start off with this A5 with 2 strums, and then we'll quickly switch to a B octave shape. So that's the same as our previous octave shapes, but we're going to play at 2nd and 4th frets here. We're going to strum this 4 times, then up 1 fret 4 times, back to our A5 4 times, and so far. And then on the end beat after the 4, we'll quickly go to this shape. So it's based off a D/F sharp, but we have our index finger on the 2nd fret of the 6th string, pinky finger on the 5th fret of the 5th string. And again, we want to mute everything below those strings that we're hitting, and you can do that with your index finger by lightly touching those strings below. So we're going to hit that on the end beat after the 4, and then continue on in the 3rd bar. And so far for the first 2 bars. For the 3rd bar, we're going to continue with this shape, and the rhythm is down, up, down, 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 up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Now, one way to sort of think about this is how the vocal is being sung as well. What if I say I will never surrender? So notice how all the syllables basically align with this strumming pattern. What if I say I will never surrender? The only exception to that rule is really just the last 3 strums, but everything else aligns with the vocal pattern. What if I say I will never surrender? So we're going to play that for this shape, and then for the final bar we'll shift down to an F5 shape, so 1st and 3rd frets. And again, mute everything below those strings. And this is everything for the first line of chords. That line of tab is played through twice, and then for the second line of tab, it's a really cool lick, which is kind of like the break before we get into the second verse. It's a very bluesy lick, but we're going to start with our index finger on the 2nd fret of the 4th string. We're going to hit the 5th and 4th string twice, and then ring finger goes up to the 4th fret, hit these 2 strings, and the 5th string by itself, and then shift up to the 5th fret, hit those 2 strings, and the 5th string by itself, and then 7th fret with the ring finger. So, and then we're going to quickly shift back down to the 2nd fret of the 4th string, and that's going to be held out for an 8th note. And so far. And then we'll pick it back up by hitting it again, and then 4th fret, bass note by itself, 5th fret, bass note by itself, and then 7th fret of the 4th string. And in total. And faster. Next we get to verse 2, which is the same as verse 1, except the first line of tab is played through twice and not 4 times. Then there's chorus 2, which is the same as chorus 1, except the second line of tab is just those octaves that we have in the verse. So that's the only difference between chorus 1 and chorus 2. Next we get to the bridge, which has 6 lines of tab. Now for this first riff, it's basically what we've already learnt in the second half of the first chorus, where we play something like this. We'll just play that through twice. And for the first line of tab, that's just repeated through. For the second line of tab, it's almost identical, except at the very end, instead of holding this 7th fret position out for an 8th note, we're going to quickly go up to the 10th fret position with our ring finger. So this second bar in the second line of tab. So we're going to hold that into the third line of tab, where we'll pick it back up on the E beat after the 1s. So we'll pick it back up and then down to the 9th fret position, bass note by itself, and then 7th fret position, hit that, and then slide your finger down to 5th fret. And from the very last pluck in the second line of tab. So after that 5th string, we'll hit the open 5th string one more time. And then from this point onwards, we're basically just repeating that riff again and again. So I'll just take it back to the final note in the second line of tab. We're going to repeat that through essentially 4 times. So that will sound like this. At the very end of this third line of tab, we'll then shoot up to the 12th fret with our ring finger. And our riff will change a little bit now. So it'll be that note, hold that into the next bar, pick it back up, and then down to 10th fret position. Root note by itself, down to the 9th fret without your next finger. We're going to hit these 2 strings and hammer our middle finger onto the 10th fret. And then end with the 5th string by itself. So this riff. Now with those single 5th string notes, it's ideal to actually palm mute that. So take the fleshy bit of your palm and rest it lightly on the edge of the bridge. Too far in, nothing's gonna ring out. So it needs to be right on the edge of the bridge. So this riff in total. And that's gonna be repeated through 4 times as well. So. At the very end of this line of tab, we then shoot up to the 14th fret position with our ring finger. We're going to hit these 2 strings. We're going to hold that down to the next bar, hit these 2 strings again, then 12th fret of the 3rd string, 14th fret of the 3rd string, and down to the 12th fret of the 4th string, but we're going to hit the 5th and 4th together. And this riff in total. And this now is going to be our riff that we repeat again and again. So with all that in mind, this is what the bridge will sound like. I'm just going to play from the second line of tab onwards because that first line of tab is more or less the same as the second line of tab. Next we get to the interlude, and that's basically the same as the second line of tab of intro. So we're returning to that clean channel and playing the opening riff. So nothing new to learn there. Chorus 3 is the same as chorus number 2, except our first line of tab is played through 4 times and not 2 times. Finally, we have the outro. Now the first line of tab is the same as the first line of tab for the bridge. So we're playing that bluesy riff. We're going to play that twice. The second line of tab, we go up to the 10th fret position. We're going to hit the 5th and 4th strings twice here. Down to 9th. Root note by itself. 7th fret. Slide down. And root note. So. And then back up to 10th fret. Hit that. Hold that out. Hit it again. 9th fret. Root note. And then 7th fret position. Hit that. And slide. So this bar in total. And then we'll go to a A5 power chord. And we're going to strum this with a down up, mute, and then down up, mute. That's it for the intro, which sounds like this. And that's everything for guitar number 1, which is more or less what Chris Shiflett plays. Now we'll move on to guitar part number 2, which is more or less what Dave Grohl plays. Dave Grohl's rhythm guitar parts enter in during the first verse. I'm going to start with an A minor chord. We're going to strum this with a quick down and then mute the strings shortly after. And you can do that by just dropping your hand onto the strings like that. Now with this A minor, you definitely don't want to hit the open 6th string. So when you're fretting an A minor, what you should do is just have your thumb reaching over the top to lightly touch that 6th string so you can strum everything, and only the strings that you want to ring out will be ringing out. So we strum that with a down, up, mute, and another down, up, mute. We play that for 2 bars for the A minor, and then we go to a D/F sharp. I like to play this with my index and middle finger on the 2nd frets of the 6th and 3rd string, and pinky finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. So that's our D/F sharp. We're playing the exact same rhythm. And then finally, the last chord is an F sus2. So ring and pinky fingers on the 3rd fret of the 5th and 4th string. Index finger on the 1st fret of the 2nd string. And if you can, reach your thumb over the top to hit the 1st fret of the 6th string. When I listened really closely to the isolated guitar parts, it sounded like an F sus2 to me. If you want, you could just focus on an F power chord as well here too. But I really like the sound of the F sus2. So that's the first line of tab, which sounds like this. Now the second line of tab is almost identical, except at the very end there's a very quick down, up, down, up. We're going to start with the chord, and then lift our fingers, hit open strings, and then hit a G chord. And we can do that by hitting the 3rd fret of the 6th string. And you can mute the 5th string here by lightly touching it with that ring finger whilst fretting the 6th string. And then another open strum. So, and that's really quick. So the final bar. Now for the 3rd line of tab, you can just continue playing what was played in the 2nd line of tab. However, in the actual song, there's palm muting and a constant rhythm now being chugged from this point onwards. And Dave Grohl actually plays a hybrid of those stabby chords and palm muting. In the studio recording, they overdub lots of guitar parts, but when they play this live, Dave Grohl kind of does both at the same time. And I'm pretty sure Pat Smear would back it up with the palm muting as well. So with the A minor, we'll quickly play a down up and then quickly switch to palm muting. So we'll take the fleshy bit of our palm, rest it lightly on the edge of the bridge, and just focus on the 5th and 4th strings. And that's all with down strokes. We're gonna do that 4 times, and that will sound like this. And then we're going to do that short burst of 4 strums again. And then after that, continue the rest of the bar with palm muting. In total, it'll sound like this. So that's going to be played for 2 bars, and we're going to do the exact same thing with our D/F sharp. And the same thing with our F. But at the very end of this F, we're going to do the same thing that we did in the second line of tab, where we go F and G, like that. So the final bar. And the third line of tab and total. Now, finally, for the fourth line of tab here, it's really simple. We're just going to go to a D chord and just focus on strumming the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings and letting that ring out for the full bar. That's verse number 1 in total. I'll play it all through. Now, this second line of tab is usually played through twice, but for this quick playthrough, I'll just play it through once. So I'll say it like this. Next we get to chorus 1. We're going to start with this chord shape here. So ring and pinky fingers on the 10th fret of the 4th and 2nd string, and middle finger on the 9th fret of the 3rd string. We're going to focus on just strumming the middle 4 strings. So the open 5th string, 4th, 3rd, and 2nd. Now to mute the 6th string, what I do is I use my thumb to reach over the top and lightly touch that 6th string. So you can strum everything and rock out, and only those strings you want to ring out will ring out. We're going to continuously strum this with a down-up strumming pattern at 16th notes for a full bar. For the second bar, we'll start off with 2 strums in this position, but then we'll take our index finger, put it on the 7th fret of the 6th string. We're going to strum this 4 times, then move this index finger up to the 8th fret, then remove our index finger, and then just focus back in our original position. For the final strum of this bar, we take our index finger and put it on the 9th fret of the 5th string. So that's the change on the end beat after the 4. So this bar in total. We'll continue with this shape for the next bar. And again, the rhythm is going to be similar to the rhythm that we had for Chris's rhythm guitar. As I noted in that section, you want to think about the rhythm of what is being sung. So just think about, what if I say I will never surrender? So every single syllable has a strum, and that's sort of the strumming pattern, with the exception of the last 3 strums. So what if I say I will never surrender? And we apply that to this chord shape. And then for the 4th bar, we just move our index finger down 1 fret and play the exact same thing. That line of tab is played through twice, but I'll just play it through once, and this is the chorus. Next we get to verse 2 with 3 lines of tab. The first line of tab is the same as the second line of tab in verse 1. Now for the second line tab, we then just go straight to palm muting. There's no strumming accents here. It's just all palm muting at 16th notes with the A, with the D/F sharp, and then the F sus2. But we do have that change from the F to the G at the very end. So the second line of tab. And then we end with another D. So that's it for verse 2. If you want to see it in the context of the song, then go to the playthrough at the end. For chorus number 2, it's almost the same as chorus number 1, except in the second line of chords, we're going to go back to our D chord and strum this at 16th notes. So that's the only thing we add for chorus 2. Next we get to the bridge. Now for the bridge, Dave Grohl just sort of rings out an A chord a lot of the time. So he's hitting an A power chord, letting it hold out for 2 bars and then continuously doing that. For the final line of tab, this is where it starts building up. Now for the first 2 bars, I will just palm mute this chord at 16 notes. And in the final 2 bars, you'll just strum that power chord like normal. So the final line of tab. So that's more or less the bridge, which is pretty simple for Dave Grohl's part. Then there's the interlude and the final chorus. So the final chorus is the same as the second chorus, except this first line of tab is played through 4 times and not twice. The final thing to learn is the outro, and it's just the A power chord, and we're just going to strum this with a repeat that through 3 times, and the 4th bar is just a mute, which is very similar to the accents in the verse. So that's everything for the rhythm guitar part for Pretender. So now I'll be doing 2 playthroughs of the song. The first playthrough will be the lead guitar played by Chris Shiflett, and then the second playthrough will be the rhythm guitar played by Dave Grohl. Now Pat Smear's guitar parts fall somewhere in between that, I believe. He's doing a lot of the rhythm stuff similar to Dave Grohl. I'll also have a vocal track on top for some context. Feel free to play this back as many times as you'd like to practice, play along to, and see how you go.
Sending your skeletons, sing as they both come marching in again. Many to bury deep, the secrets that you keep are at the ready. Are you ready? I'm finished making sense, done bleeding ignorance that whole defense. Spinning infinity, but the wheel is spinning me. It's never ending, never ending. Same old story. What if I say I'm not like the others? What if I say I'm not just another one of your plays? You're the pretender. What if I say I'll never surrender? What if I say I'm not like the others? What if I say I'm not just another one of your plays? You're the pretender. What if I say I'll never surrender? Time or so I'm told, I'm just another soul for sale. Oh well, the pages out of print. We are not permanent, we're temporary, same old story. What if I say I'm not like the others? What if I say I'm not just another one of your plays? You're the pretender. What if I say I'll never surrender? What if I say I'm not like the others? What if I say I'm not just another one of your plays? You're the pretender. What if I say I'll never surrender? I'm a voice inside your head you refuse to hear. I'm a face that you have to face, mirror in your stare. I'm what's left, I'm what's right, I'm the enemy. I'm the hand that'll take you down, bring you to your knees. So who are you? Yeah, who are you? Yeah, who are you? Keep you in the dark, you know it all. Pretend. What if I say I'm not like the others? What if I say I'm not just another one of your plays? You're the pretender. What if I say I'll never surrender? What if I say I'm not like the others? What if I say I'm not just another one of your plays? You're the pretender. What if I say I'll never surrender? What if I say I'm not like the others? What if I say I'm not just another one of your plays? You're the pretender. What if I say I'll never surrender? What if I say I'm not like the others? What if I say I'm not just another one of your plays? You're the pretender. What if I say I'll never surrender?
Thanks so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this lesson, then I know you'll absolutely love these other lessons too. So hit the link here. Or if you want to grab a copy of my free guitar ebook, then head over to guitar0tohero.com or click the link here. Thanks so much, and I'll see you guys next time on Guitar Zero to Hero. Cheers.